Are you prepared to help the French as much as I am?
I don't see why not. As long as it's nothing to do with the language, I'm not particularly good at that. I've always struggled with the French language. Just seems to have a certain I don't know what about it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Very Special Relationship, the podcast that notes how much the US and the UK have in common, specifically in the area of governmental insanity. I'm your host, Andrea Bridges-Smith from the Phoenix News Network, and with me here is Matt Johnston from the Interesting Times. Matt, how goes it on the easterly side of the ocean?
Yeah, not bad, Andrea. We are, though, heading for winter with some pretty insanely high energy bills about to hit. Now, the governing Conservative Party, who last year did give everyone financial support, will this year not be doing that. Basically, it's going to be a long, cold winter.
Well, Matt, if things get too chilly, you can always come to Texas if you're a wearing shorts on Christmas Day kind of a guy.
Right, you probably haven't heard about our airline trouble then.
Oh, no. That could complicate matters. Now, Matt, I understand that there is some good news over there. We all love some good news. You have managed to shake off Nadine Dorries. Well played. What happened there? How'd you get rid of her?
I'm genuinely not sure. I mean, 1 minute, nothing. The next, so long, suckers. Whatever was said to her needs to be put on loop and played outside of 10 Downing Street.
Yes, and perhaps we can borrow that recording when you're done with it. So I understand that she has already landed a new temporary job, which is called Steward and Bailiff of the 300s of Chiltern. To quote you Brits, what the bloody fuck is all that?
Well, I believe the correct expression is what the ruddy bloody hell is that. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's basically our ongoing desire to prove to other countries that we're not normal. Put simply, MPs aren't allowed to resign their seat, right? So they're
Right.
also not allowed to accept another job for profit. I know. No questions, please. We don't have time. So anyway, they put this position in to create something where you have a job that you take for profit, so you're effectively sacked as an MP, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It doesn't to me, but never mind. Unfortunately, nobody actually puts it like that. Nobody actually turns around and says you're sacked, because I think that would be fine. But
Right.
there is also, by the way, something called stewards of the manor of Norstead. Now, if more than one MP wants to resign at the same time, and plenty of famous politicians have used this, David Cameron, following his disastrous plan to have a referendum on EU membership, and our current London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, when he became our London Mayor. But only one individual has actually had both titles, both Steward of the Bailiff of the 300s of Chiltern and Stewards of the Manor of Norstead. Can you name him?
Let me see. Does it start with Bo and end with Joe?
It does.
Yes,
What
I
about
got it
you?
right.
What about you? What's going on with what's his face?
Well, no idea who you're talking about. Over here in our ongoingly belabored presidential campaign, which is again for next November. We really do like to drag these out. In this campaign, several bits of interesting news to note. One is that one of Trump's trials has been scheduled to start the day before Super Tuesday, which is when 15 states will all hold their presidential primaries at once. There's a lot of last-minute campaigning right before that, but not if you're a defendant required to sit in a courtroom and scowl.
Right.
And speaking of scowling, I'm sure that you have seen the mugshot by now. Is that right?
Yeah, I certainly have. I imagine most people have. Now, we
Yeah,
did talk about the fact that no mugshot will ever make people look anything but guilty, right?
true.
But I am perplexed to see a lot of right-wing commentators claiming that this shows that tough Trump is back. Whereas, I don't know, I think he looks like a 3-year-old that's been caught shitting the bed.
See, I kind of thought he looked like he was trying to do like a blue steel kind of thing. Have you ever seen the movie Zoolander?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was about someone who was vain and talentless, wasn't it?
Yes, it's a little bit on the nose here. Yes, it is indeed our generation's Citizen Kane, and I highly recommend it to any listeners who have not seen it yet. So anyway, Trump's mugshot has netted him $7 million in donations, every dime of which he immediately spent on lawyers.
Oh, wait, I mean, I thought he wasn't paying the lawyers. Oh, anyway, enough about him. Any news about the other Republicans?
Yes, so many Republicans running for president. There's just a cornucopia of them. Vivek Ramaswamy, who was the breakout star of last week's GOP debate. By the way, did you catch the debate or the highlights?
I caught it on your channel. I watched it and I loved it, by the way.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. So Vivek got a letter from Eminem's record company saying that he should stop rapping "Lose Yourself" on the campaign trail.
Yeah, not sure anyone who's going into an election campaign should be rapping about losing yourself.
Yes, nor about vomiting onto his own clothing. It's tough to kiss babies and shake hands if you're covered in an extra spicy version of mom's spaghetti.
Indeed, as Lil Wayne is wont to say.
Yes, Matt, I know that your knowledge of hip hop is not just deep, but also wide. You are a hip hop aficionado. Everyone says that about you. Now, this is the portion of the show where we are supposed to rap a clever joke in response to this news story. I am assuming, since you are the resident expert on the podcast of all things hip hop, that you would like to cover that. Is that correct?
Well, how about when I normally see Republican candidates talking, I'm thinking white lies that are going through my mind.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Also, just out of curiosity, can you beatbox?
Yes, indeed. Here we go.
I'm so excited about this.
Honestly, I can't see where it took off, but never mind. I don't see the appeal myself.
Oh man, just a hip hop scholar. That is what you are. So Matt, let us turn now to the wide world of sport, where the World Bog Snorkeling Championships have just taken place. Did you manage to make it down to the bog for the big event?
Unfortunately, I was bogged down. Get it? With work. But bearing in mind the state of our rivers that we currently have, I understand it will, from this moment, simply be known as swimming.
There you go.
Now, the bog snorkeling event takes place in North Wales, and then we've also had the World Gravy Wrestling Championship in Lancashire.
Oh,
I reckon that after our oh-so-near Women's World Cup drama and the fact that our rugby team, the England rugby team, aren't doing particularly well, this is our chance to pick up any world championship. And you know what? We'll take it.
Yes, and as you mentioned, of only slightly more importance than the Gravy Championships and the bog snorkeling is World Cup soccer/football, where instead of talking about how good the Spanish women's national team is, we're spending all of our time talking about this one guy being a dick. And as a lady person, this really pisses me off. All anyone should be talking about right now is how badass these women are, and instead we're spending all our time on this man that just had to go and make it all about himself. So before we say another word about this asshole, I just want to take some time here, and I want to say the Spanish team is amazing. They did a great job, they played hard, and they deserve accolades and congratulations and parades.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fair play. I say this as an England supporter, obviously, but I don't think we played our best. But credit for that has to go to the Spanish team. They never gave us a chance to get in our stride. I mean, did you see that that lady that scored the winning goal? Well, the only goal, in fact, to the final. Her dad passed away before the final, didn't he? But they didn't tell her. They didn't want to put her off and stuff. I mean, inspired, really. Yeah. Now, if it wasn't for our goalie, someone called Mary Earps, it could have been, let's be honest, a whole lot more. Now, fun fact, they call her Mary Queen of Stops. Clever, right?
Yeah.
And not so fun fact, despite being one of the players of the tournament, and I reckon, although I could be biased, the best goalie in the world, Nike didn't produce an international replica jersey with her name on, even when she offered to fund it herself. Nike, no likey.
Well, that's not the first time that they've exercised poor judgment, but at least they were wearing something moisture-wicking while exercising that judgment. Now, on to Dickface. He has been suspended and I would imagine is about to be shit-canned, and his mom has locked herself in a church and has gone on a hunger strike to protest the treatment of her son. Incidentally, a church is a great place to go on a hunger strike because the only food they've got is those little communion wafers, which are very unappealing.
Yes, yum, yum. Although she at some point will be able to have a lovely big slice of humble pie when she comes out, right?
Yes, exactly. Looking forward to that. So, Matt, speaking of plumbing the depths for depravity, I understand the hunt is once again on for the Loch Ness Monster, but this time with better gadgets.
Yes, the ongoing hunt for the ever-elusive Loch Ness Monster. Now, I reckon at least 1,000 of my subscribers are from Scotland. So let me start by saying that the Loch Ness Monster definitely exists.
Sure.
Right. But I see there have been some strange sounds being picked up from Loch Ness's riverbed. Unfortunately, they weren't recorded as the equipment wasn't plugged in. Oh, no. But the sound could have been gas escaping anyway, or from the riverbed, or from an animal maybe, like a prehistoric animal.
Oh?
Or it might just be pareidolia, basically your mind playing tricks on you.
Right.
By the way, now lochs are obviously lakes that are in Scotland and Ireland, loch coming from the Gaelic word for lake. But did you know, Andrea, that in the Highlands there is a loch lochy? I imagine that's from the same people that bought you Boaty McBoatface.
The Boaty McBoatface people should be in charge of naming everything. I mean,
I agree.
They really nailed it. Now, Matt, speaking of places near and dear to you, shall we say, one of our mutual allies is France. And much like Gondor, they are in need of some aid. Are you prepared to help the French as much as I am?
I don't see why not. As long as it's nothing to do with the language, I'm not particularly good at that. I've always struggled with the French language. Just seems to have a certain, I don't know what about it.
Do you want to hear something really funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to the University of Texas for college. Guess what I majored in?
No, really?
I did, yeah. And they have a wonderful French program. But if you're going to live in Texas for the next couple of decades after that, that's maybe not the degree to get. Lesson learned.
I mean, what is the French Texan community like? Is it fairly involved?
I would answer that by saying, what Texan French community? That's not really a thing here. Should have spent more time on Spanish, but you know, I just sort of soak it up by living here, so it's all worked out.
You don't mind me asking, pourquoi did you do that?
That was some really excellent French there, Matt. I started learning French in like junior high school, which is middle school, and just really liked it. And I sort of have an ear for languages, so I minored in Japanese, and I also took a couple semesters of German. And like I said, I can speak some Spanish just kind of by osmosis. So that's just one of those things that my brain knows how to do. If you want any complex math equations, you're going to have to ask somebody else. But if you want to know anything about dead French poets, I'm your gal.
Okay, got it. What about Latin? You ever do Latin?
No, that probably would have been a good one because, that's the basis for everything else. So
it's nice to look smart. I mean, Boris Johnson famously uses it sort of wherever he can, really. And indeed, one of our other politicians. But if you don't know what they're saying, then mind you, when Boris Johnson spoke English, I never knew what he was saying, so that didn't make much difference.
Yes, we have certainly done some mangling of the mother tongue over here. So anyways, back to our good friends, The
Yes.
French. The French are in trouble. They have an extra surplus of wine, which I know must be very shocking to you, that the French have extra wine laying around.
What's going on? Yes.
Mysterious. But they have so much extra wine that they're actually paying a lot of money to have it destroyed. But I just want to say, France, darling, chérie, we would like to save you a few centimes and say, we will take the wine. Please, let us drink it. My karaoke group alone can make short work of it. Laissez-nous vous aider.
Nice. Okay. Well, they did give you a statue, didn't they? And
Yes.
your national costume, denim, and your national side order. So it's
True.
only fair they send the wine over too. But in true French style, it'll only be what they don't want. What should we do with this wine? Pour it down the gutter? No, give it to the Americans. They would drink anything. See, who
Well,
says
to
I
be-
can't speak French?
That was spot on. I'm sure all of our French listeners are applauding you while standing right now. No, to be fair, the cheapest wine that I've had in France still tasted like tears from a god, and the same definitely cannot be said of the American $2 chuck.
$2 chuck.
Yes, that is
$2 chuck.
that's how
$2
we
chuck
refer
can
to
leave-
cheap wine over here.
$2 chuck can leave you feeling unwell, I'm led to believe, right?
Yes, correct.
All right. So, what have we got to look forward to this coming week, Andrea?
Well, if you are a fan of legal dramas, Judge Judy, old episodes of LA Law from back in the 80s, now is your time, because for the next week, month, several months, there is going to be all sorts of legal wrangling going on in various cases surrounding our former president. So if you love legal courtroom drama, you're about to get it in spades. I'm so excited for you.
Oh, you're looking out for that. Wonderful stuff.
And what about you, Matt? What's going on over there? What do we have to look forward to?
Rather depressing, more of the same. Yes, it seems to be the case that our government is not going to change any time soon, and what they're doing isn't going to change anytime soon. Unfortunately, there doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of light at the end of this particularly long tunnel. But who knows? That could all change. Same ship, different day.
Well, Matt, if you need something to occupy the time, may I suggest to go ahead and have your candidates start campaigning for prime minister now? I know you don't have an election for a while, but it really does help pass the time until you do. Just the longest campaign season that you can possibly imagine. Go ahead and get started on it. It'll fill up the calendar.
Here's the thing. If I'm doing it, I've got to do it about whoever's going to be our prime minister at the time. I'm not entirely convinced that's going to be Rishi Sunak, genuinely.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, well, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much. Big thank you to Andrea Bridges-Smith for allowing me onto her channel at Phoenix News Network. So this is the only place you're going to see a very special relationship from now on. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Thank you, Andrea. And if you want to see what I'm all about, please join my channel at The Interesting Times UK. Same time next week, Andrea?
Same time next week.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Cheerio!